thumbs up online? Or something in the chat? So this is our engineering, City of Port St. Lucie Engineering Standards meeting. We appreciate you being here today. We do have people attending in person and online. It sounds like they can hear us online, which is great. We just wanted to go over a few things. If you have any questions following the presentation, we are asking the people online to please submit your question in chat. Include your information, your name, and who you're with. We are also asking the people in person to do something similar. We have question forms in the back, so you'll write your questions and provide your information, and we'll read and answer those questions here today. So I want to turn it over to Clyde with the Public Works Department. He's going to present. Thank you again for coming.
Hello, good morning. I'm Clyde Coffey, Public Works Regulatory Division Director. So I'm just going to go over the changes that we're proposing for our engineering standards. The existing standards were done back in, I believe, 2020. So this would be the first revision to those standards. As Bev said, if you have any questions, you can write them down. At the end, we'll go over any questions that we have and provide responses to them. Also, I have Colt Schwartz. He's the Public Works Director. So between the two of us, we'll be able to answer any of the questions that you have.
And just mention that we're going to get the red line out before the next round of workshops.
Yes, so Colt just reminded me that so we have the red line of the existing document. We'll get that out to you later this week, so that way you have that to take a look at and provide us any additional questions you may have as well. So with that said, I'm going to go through the slides. Okay, yes, it's working. All right, so our updates, we have various updates to procedures and policies. Most of them are already in place, and we do have a few new ones. Some of the updates are just adding references to FDOT and FDEP manuals, clarifying the requirements for right-of-way permits, clarifying directional bore requirements. We have some additional updated uses that are allowed or prohibited in the easements, clarifying stormwater management criteria, we updated the allowable drainage pipe material that can be used in our right-of-way. Also, additional reinforced, we added reinforced concrete pipe is allowed in residential driveways. Typically, we've in the past just used the metal pipes. And updated the minimum distance to a gated entrance on residential and commercial driveways. The significant changes to roadways, and I'm just going to go through various sections. So for instance, this slide shows section 8.3, which is the network requirements. It provides a revision to roadway network requirements. So new roadways shall be extended to the parcel boundaries, and new developments need to connect to existing roadways. Section 8.6, which is a roadway cross-section, we have updates to that to encourage using the average daily trips for roadway classifications, and also provides multimodal requirements by roadway classification. The pavement and design in section 8.7, we added clarification to all adjustments to asphalt base and subgrade thickness. We've had that as a requirement for each of those, but sometimes we've noticed that depending on some designs, the either thicker asphalt or adjustment to the base was needed, so we've made some clarification on there. And we also added the minimum structural number for a temporary parking lot as 1.61. In this roadway section for medians, we have 4-lane roadway 4-lane roadway, and any roadway with a design speed of 35 miles per hour or greater is going to require a median. And we also updated the 2-foot paver band, which was called for before. We've changed that to a 2-foot wide concrete band and provide the color and pattern for that concrete band. Section 8.10 and 8.11 is the intersections and modern roundabouts. We've updated the reference to FDOT design manual, intersection control evaluation manual, and the FDOT NCHRP report 672. On the driveways, section 8.12, we've added that the street light is required when connecting a driveway to a collector or arterial roadway. Irrigation sleeves is required for all driveways within a public roadway. We updated the FDOT standard plan index for driveway geometry, updated the requirements for tooled joints on concrete sidewalks. We also added the requirements for forming the residential concrete driveway, including saw cutting and the existing edge of asphalt, and providing hot mix asphalt repair. And that's primarily on residential driveways. We added code reference for the number of access points required for residential subdivision, and we also updated the NCHRP reference for left turn lanes. On the sidewalks, which is section 8.15, we clarified the minimum sidewalk width if a sidewalk is located adjacent to the back of curb or the edge of pavement. We also added a minimum thickness for concrete sidewalks within 5 foot of a driveway and within the access crossings to utilities or stormwater management facilities. We added a 4-foot minimum sidewalk width for curb ramps, landings, and sidewalk crossing driveways. Also mentioned the traverse joints is supposed to be tooled, not saw cut. And added specifications for installation of curb ramps with detectable warnings and restoration of asphalt. And finally, on roadways, the mobility plan, we added a section, that's the new section, mobility plan, and the link to the city's website. Under the traffic control devices, signalization and lighting for pavement markings, we added new striping on public roadways, and which will follow FDOT standards. We added mill and overlay as a preferred method for removing striping. We clarified that hydroblasting as a method for removing pavement markings is prohibited in city right-of-way. Also, black paint is not a method of removal or cover-up of paint. On the signage, section 9.1.2, we added sign general criteria as well as requirements for driver feedback signs. Section 9.2, which is signalization, we added the condition and specifications for temporary span wire assemblies, and added controller assembly for the cabinets and various requirements for signalization. We also added, that's a continuation of signalization, added the accessible pedestrian signs qualification, specifications for construction material of a new signal head. We also added a specification for treatment of pedestrian sidewalks at mid-block and on signalized intersections. We had some general updates for landscaping and irrigation, also bicycle and pedestrian facilities. For parking areas, we verified the stacking requirements in private parking also on private property. We also added a general note for waste and recycling facilities. For submittals, we did some revisions. In the general notes, we added the requirements for revision clouds on the plans. Also added reference for the plat reviews checklist for plats. Shop drawings, we added requirements for shop drawings for all private developments, and also for anything that's going to be turned over to the city for ownership and maintenance. We also updated made updates to the requirements that let me read this over again, sorry. We made updates to the requirements for manuals, and that's for the operations and maintenance manuals that's required during the review. Improvement guarantees, we added requirements to provide a guarantee on all work that's performed within the right of way, and also added requirements for work done in the city right of way as off-site improvements. In the permitting section, we made a few changes. Removal of specific response time for the issuing of a permit, as well as we extended the permits, validity of a permit, from 1 year, from 6 months to 1 year for both mass grading and the site work permit. Driveway culverts, we made some changes on there as well. We added the requirements for the third-party verification of authenticity of a survey. We also added the requirements for 12-inch minimum temporary pipe to be installed within the right-of-way for any driveway that's coming in. We also added the clarification that the road lane closure must be provided for any roadway or sidewalk work a minimum of 48 hours before the closure is done. Our construction standards, we also did a few changes on there. We added requirements for construction entrance to be located on the most minor roadway. We also made changes to add the requirements for the inspection of the road right-of-way irrigation components by our city irrigation inspector. And for roadway turnover, we had recommendation for the submitting the turnover documents ahead of time for review prior to submitting for the official request. That concludes the revisions that we made. So now we can open it up for any questions.
Good morning, this is Bethany Grabs, the Planning Department. If anybody online has a question, please type it into the chat and I will read it out loud for an answer. Thank you.
I know I sped through it, but I can always go back through.
And again, I'll just kind of remind them again that document will be coming so that they can provide questions and comments.
And these will be available on the website, the recordings of the meeting today.
Okay, yeah, so the recordings of the meeting will be available on our website, and then we'll provide the red line document as well.
Apparently, I just got a text saying that the chat is disabled.
That's why no questions are coming. Does anybody need a form in person? They're in the back, we can get them for you if you'd like. Does anybody have a question that's here in person?
Can you go back to the portion of the site program?
Yes, so Mary has the forms, so if you want to fill out any questions that you have, and that way.
I guess if you want to fill out your question, and they'll read it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did we get some from the chat?
Did you get it? No, because how did they let you know that they could hear us? Yeah, so they can chat, but if they're not typing anything, they don't have any questions.
I got a text saying that they're being told chat is disabled.
Can he try again and see?
That's what I just asked him to do. And he said, yes, still says disabled.
Can you give a thumbs up?
Can anyone on the chat just send a test chat?
We received a test, so thank you, Minette.
So we received it. Someone sent a test. We received it.
One particular person?
So it must be that one person. Yeah.
And we got Tom's.
Okay. Yeah. So we are getting chats. Thank you. But no questions yet. Okay. So Bethany, we do have one question.
Good morning, Mary Savage Dunham, Director of Planning. For everybody online as well as here, these engineering standards will be moving forward for consideration. We're also going to be making some minor updates to the subdivision regulations because the subdivision regulations have standards that may conflict with the engineering standards. And so we're just going to be removing some inappropriate cross-references. So I just want to be fully transparent and say that there'll be some code changes that go along with the engineering standards. And basically, the subdivision regulations will be just referring to the engineering standards for the most part, instead of listing the standards again in the subdivision code. So those should be moving forward later this fall, and we'll keep the list from this effort and keep everybody in the loop on that. Thank you.
I have a question for Clyde. The PowerPoint said closure notice is required days prior to closure. This should be 48 hours, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So we'll make that change. Yeah. It should be 48 hours before the closure. Thanks.
We have another question. Site permit extension to 1 year will apply to current permits, or will it apply to newly applied permits?
That process is already in place, and it's always we've always treated it as 1 year, but it was not clear in the previous standards, so we're just clarifying that it is 1 year. So it pertains to existing as well as future permits. And for clarification, that 1 year is the duration during inspection. So if there's no inspections for 1 year, that's when the permit goes null, will be void. As long as you have inspections continuing, and the project really continues to the end. Is there anything else? Anybody else has any questions? Okay. Okay, so yeah, we'll go ahead and close the meeting now if we have no more questions. Colt, is there anything that you wanted to mention? Yeah, so we have a repeat at 6 tonight, from 6 to 8. We'll be here. So I'm sure if any of your colleagues want to attend, you can just let them know. All right, thank you very much.